Hi there, you lovely lot, and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Here we are, folks, episode 76 on this Victory Monday. As usual, I'm Clazzy Clare. He is Chudders. Chudders, so how are things with you?
Excellent. Wonderful. And it's Jets week, so we get to beat on the rubbish rivals from down the road. How are you, Claire? Sporting the new apparel.
Yes.
Looking very good. Obviously appropriate rivalry week.
Yeah.
How do you think about the game?
I thought I'd squeeze it in. But yes,
sensible thinking.
We must talk about the matchup against the Tampa Bay Bucs in Tampa Bay. The fifth on the road win by the Patriots in a row. The seventh in a row. The seventh win in a row. And they're 5-0 on the road, which is always super duper. People must excuse me because I have still got a bit of a foggy brain from having a cold, but we will soldier on. Now, we need to discuss the fact that this was a 28-23 win by the Patriots. And somebody predicted a 28-20 win by the Patriots. Isn't that very interesting?
You were very close. You were very close. Well done. You can claim maybe not all the flowers, a single flower. You can choose which flower. How's that?
Flower. Wow. Isn't he so generous, folks? So generous of what I have to deal with. But yes, it was close. 28-20, 28-20. Oh, yeah, I was quite... Yeah, and I'd just like to point out you predicted a 24-27 loss.
I did.
So
I was incredibly wrong. Very pleased to be wrong.
I know, but it's really boring then when like you're happy to be wrong because it's just not as much fun for me. But I am 7-5 in the season standings, so I am 2 ahead of you in the season
Excellent.
standings.
I'm pleased in that as well.
So this is my list for sandwiches, if feasible, is getting longer. So yes, looking forward to that. Get that sorted. So that'll be good. So yeah.
So what did you?
Anyway,
what was good in the game? What did you enjoy? What made it on your good list?
I'd like to make a point that the Jags might have a dual threat in Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball. However, the Patriots have got Kyrie's Tonga, baby, and I will take number 95 every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. Yes, Tonga was on. Oh, I love it watching. He even steamrolled. I think it was Jared Wilson. He had so much momentum that it was just he just got everybody out of his way. It didn't matter what color shirt you were wearing, just get out of this guy's way. The truck is coming through for the run game. Oh, it was marvelous. I loved it. And then the same on defense. It's like I need a new jersey. I do need a jersey because I've only really got
would you get a rivalry one?
Jersey. Yeah, I do really like the rivalry color one actually, but they all also are quite expensive. So that's why I'm sporting a hoodie because I can get more out of it. But yeah, I would if anybody wants to gift me a jersey, or if we can do a bet that's so good that I can win a jersey, I wouldn't mind a 95 Tonga. But to be fair, the one I really, really, really want on defense is 51.
Okay.
I really, really, really want a Jack Gibbons jersey.
Why Gibbons? Is he just lighting it up for you?
Yeah, he's great. I've met him. He's lovely. I have, yeah. So he's my linebacker, totally and utterly. Yes, I don't have a defense jersey. Well, yeah, I don't have many jerseys. It's not really what I've been able to partake in. But I definitely don't have a defensive jersey, and I would like a defensive jersey.
Fair enough.
So yeah, if there's any lovely patrons out there,
would that mean you'd have to change? You wouldn't be allowed to wear Tonga as an offensive jersey then, if you got that one.
Oh no, that's great because it'd be both. Oh, that's lovely. It'd have an offensive jersey, a defensive jersey in Gibbons, and then both. I love it. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I love it both sides of the ball. We always talk about like which positional that you love, and yes, obviously tight end is always very close to my heart, and I'm a big O-line gal and things like this. But I've always had appreciation for the defense and for special teams, but I am sort of getting really even more into the depths of it now and loving the guys on defense as well. But it's very, very difficult not to love this team anyway. And not just because of the success. And I appreciate that it's very easy to sort of love them because they're successful. The way that they are, and so much of it has got to do with Vrabel. And I was going to try not to just lament too much, be too positive and all smushy and squishy on this, but it looks like that's where it's going, in all fairness. But still, yeah.
Be as positive as you want.
Some good for you as well.
No. Please be as positive as you want. I giggle because when we were awful for the past 2 years, I didn't understand. It frustrated me how positive you could still wonderfully be. Now there's reason to be positive and amazing, and you want to temper it.
Excuse me. I'm trying to be restrained. I'm trying to restrain myself. I've done this show with you for that long now, and I've worked with you for that long now, that I am now restraining my positivity and not being too much.
I'm wearing off on you. That's not good. You'll start getting grumpy next. So
I got grumpy before. That's a different section.
So what in particular pleased you? What's on your good list then, Claire? Apart from Tonga playing both sides. Gibbons.
Matt Collins was on my list. Yeah, Gibbons was on my list.
He really is becoming one of your number one players this year, I think, isn't he?
I know.
Having been at the bottom of the heap,
he has
come the furthest, most improved player in Claire's rankings.
Yes, I just didn't, because he was a Bill. I had such bias with him being a Bill, but he's great, and he's
you obviously didn't like Collins for that. You didn't like Diggs for that, but I think they've both won you over.
Yes, of course.
Not just some highlight plays, but also probably attitude and the team input, the ethos that they're bringing, the locker room, I don't know, bravado, whatever you want to call it, that they're hanging out. So is there now a flip to this? And do you think, well, actually, let's steal some more Bills because the ones we've got have been doing so well? Are you now thinking, let's have them all?
I'll happily steal Dalton Kincaid from them.
He's injured, though, and he got injured
yesterday. But I'd still happily steal him from them.
Okay, we can tell you what, we can go to tight ends later because I did look something up which might interest you actually.
But I just do want to preface quickly you saying about that. Yes, they've won me over, but I would like to just make the point of they haven't only won me over because they've been successful. Like you said, the attitude was a big thing. I've also just literally gotten over the bias of they were a Bill because they're now a Patriot. So even if we weren't looking at super successful, as long as we weren't looking at bad attitudes from either of them, I would still have been won over because they're a Patriot, and I would have got over it quite quickly. It's just humorous that they're not only so positive off field, if you like, and they're doing so well on the field, that it just feels really funny, as if they're like, yeah, Claire, going to be really good for you. Stick that.
It is. And I think Vrabel said the same in his press conference, that it was all, the performances are all for Claire. That you've won them round, they're looking to prove you wrong, and you are the inspiration.
Really? Don't be stupid. Why do you have to take it there? I was having such a fun time.
So
good. What's on your good list then? Stop Spanish Inquisitioning me. Who's on your good list, Chudders?
So what I would say is, one thing that I was contemplating for the past few weeks was, as generally as pleased as we'd been with the draft, and I guess particularly Will Campbell, who not necessarily has set the world on fire, but he's also not been the problem in the O-line at all. His performances have been good. You could say that's a positive from last year's draft. Mm-hmm. I was starting to fear how much of an impact our day two players were having. After Henderson's return touchdown on the first play of the entire season, brackets preseason, and obviously Williams wasn't really getting a look in anywhere, I was starting to feel like, well, hang on. Looking back at that draft, we're really positive coming out of it. Some of the talent, the highlights that these players we thought we're getting, but we haven't really seen it at all, and that was starting to worry me. This game turned that around completely. Obviously, a monster game for Henderson, and you'd say maybe it's a breakout game for Williams. You know, the rush for, or the sorry, not the rush, the reception and run for his touchdown was immense. Looking at his speed there, he just went and went and went. Yeah, could this be that we start to see some more plays like that stretching the field? He's going to get opportunities potentially with injuries to Butte. Can we see that gadget coming out to play now as well?
Well, according to, are you talking of speed? According to Next Gen Stats and Phil Perry, Henderson hit 22.01 miles per hour on his 55-yard touchdown run, and Carl Williams just eked behind him at 21.78 miles per hour. So proof is in the pudding.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think I said to you, whoa, he's fast. It's one of those you're looking and you're like, you know that guys are quick. You get it. And then you see it and you're like, whoa. That's the thing that marvels. But yeah.
So fast.
Simple things.
And Henderson, I think, needed that game because it wasn't just one play, which you'd have to argue that's all it was for Williams. It was one play. It lit us up, but it was okay. We know that's in the locker. It wasn't just one play for Henderson, which we'd kind of seen already this season, like I said, for certainly his return game. It was his performance throughout the game. 14 rushes for 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then the receiving game 1 for 3. So 150 all-purpose yards. That's what you want. That's what you're looking for. And he's obviously going to need to step up with Stevenson's injury. Jennings even took a knock. I'm not sure what his injury status is going to be. We talked last week about the trade deadline and how maybe a running back might have helped out. That could be something that, I mean, obviously can't trade now, but that could be something they're really going to have to start to look at closely now. It's starting to get slightly worrying. One of the frustrations I had, one of the solutions that they seemed to try was sort of end arounds or jet sweeps with Pop Douglas, but they never went anywhere. He seemed to pause, looking for a gap, and then just get tackle for loss or tackle back at the line of scrimmage, and it didn't quite work. Excuse me when I sneeze. But no, those two, that's what I want to see out of my day 2 picks, some highlight plays, and hopefully that's the start of something and not just one-off performances now.
The other thing is that they could do in regards to running backs is, obviously, as we're going on this short week, they play the Jets on Thursday at home. Maybe they could kidnap Breece Hall and just keep him in a locker somewhere until the Jets have left the building. Maybe repurpose him.
I'd have given something up to have got him last week. I'd have given up at least a 4th, maybe even a 3rd to get him last week if that's what it would have taken. Maybe the Jets were just never, ever, ever going to deal to the Pats no matter what they offered.
See, this is the thing. That's the one thing that kind of gets me with the whole situation is it's all very well complaining that, for example, they didn't get a running back. You don't know how hard they did or didn't try to get a running back. Everybody can't be buyers if there's no sellers, if you see what I mean, or if they won't sell. You can only do so much, and we don't know for certain what was unsuccessful.
And there is reports out there that the Pats did try to add from Tennessee, but they weren't doing business. So
yeah,
which you can kind of understand, but like you hope that's not the case.
It's business.
They're going to have to go with what they got, bar anything they managed to pick up from the free agent market or someone else's.
All they need. That's what we're rolling with.
Hope so. You hope so. I'm going to be interested to see who's fit in that running back room this week and what they do there. They're going with what they've got, and I do think the running game often on a short week becomes important. So we'll see. We will see. Anything else good on the offense?
Yeah, I I don't know if it classes as the offense. On my good list, this is the last thing that we haven't discussed on my good list. Is the balls on Vrabel with the end of the first half on the 1 yard line, fake QB sneak to run out the clock and that kind of, yeah. I mean, we both love Vrabel. It's not a secret. I know you're not one for really, sharing feelings and stuff, but we all know that you love Vrabel too. So, yeah, definitely that was like could go two ways. Obviously, it could easily implode, but they were fortunate, and it is fun to watch. Mostly, half and half. Tense
No,
as well.
I thought it was good. I was happy. I mean, I didn't like the two plays just running it into the line that didn't go anywhere when
no.
when the Bucs have got such a good run defense. Wasn't so sure about that, mind you. But no, I didn't. I liked them going for it. I liked that. I did it. That set on a similar note, though, it's not quite the same. It's certainly not Vrabel's cojones, but Drake May, when he seemed so keen to force one in to the end zone that ended up getting picked. The play before, I think it was, he threw it away because he didn't see anything. That's what he should have done the second time. Just thrown it away, take the 3 points, go up by 8. Yes, you're leaving a slight window there for Mayfield to go down the other field and tie it up with a 2-point conversion, but put yourself 8 up. And at that point, you felt like, oh no, and especially as you went marching down the field, you thought, oh no, the Pats are going to blow it here, and that's what's going to cost them. And all this MVP chance that we're going on and talk about Drake May, and it was a phenomenal pick. Let's give credit as well. It wasn't a horrific throw; it was a brilliant pick. I can't remember who it was in the, but from the Buccaneers. But it was a great catch.
Smith.
Yeah, Smith was it. It was a great catch to hold on to that. But I don't know. It felt like it was being forced. He wanted the touchdown. Maybe just throw it away, take the 3 in that situation.
To that end, do you wish to move on to the bads, or do you still have any more goods?
Well, the one thing I wanted to say kind of on the good is, and you touched on it, is Vrabel. And the Pats now, they've won 8 games this season. And they've, to achieve those 8, they've also had to lose 2 games. It's taken the previous 2 seasons, they'd only won 8 games out of 34, whereas they've now done 8 out of 10. The turnaround he's achieved, his coaching, his ethos, vibes, whatever you want to call it, around the team, the player personnel, because there was so much turnover. And it was probably needed, but there was also quite a bit of caution. And I understand why, but I know that you didn't like some of it because, getting rid of Andrews, getting rid of Cardona, getting rid of those leaders in the locker room who'd been there so long. And we questioned, is this really the right thing to be doing? Like, are you losing too much experience, too much Patriots identity in doing that, in trying to force your own way? But we kind of wrote off at the time as for the long-term benefit. Okay, this is the way he's got to sort of cleanse the locker room, if you like, of leadership to get his leadership in there. In the long run, it'll play out. Turns out we didn't even have to wait for the long run. And I'm not saying if you had David Andrews under center, you ain't going to be where you are now. But it certainly hasn't hampered, and they're in such a great position now, obviously. What Vrabel's done is pretty amazing. And I was thinking, it feels like it's all the good that we had under Belichick. A lot of that team first attitude, and there's quite a bit of sort of stoicism in there, and not getting too high with wins, celebrating them, but not getting above ourselves. And likewise, learning from those losses, not getting too low either. And it feels like it's all that sort of good that came with Belichick, but none of the bad that we all hated. The way he used to treat media conferences, and sometimes it was too dour and not giving people enough flowers. And it feels like all the good without the bad. Now, I appreciate we've won nothing. We've won some games. We've not won a division. We've not won a championship. Like he isn't. I'm not comparing him to Belichick as accomplishments yet. But my God, it feels like we're going in the right direction with all the positivity. And it just makes you feel like, whilst I get that the Titans were not happy with how Vrabel spoke at his induction ceremony when he came to Foxborough, you kind of think, how the hell did they let him get out of the building? And then it's almost strange to think, how did, and I appreciate it's not 32 teams, but I don't know how many coaching positions there were last year and then this year. How did the, 10, 12 teams that changed coaches all overlook him? Pass on him. How did he not have a gig last year? I mean, was it that people asked? But it might have been people asked and he didn't want the jobs. I don't know.
Yeah, because he did have that year at the Browns under the offensive system, and maybe he wanted to ensure that he learned from what happened at Tennessee. And by what happened, I don't mean off the field. I mean literally he's football smart. And he felt he had a deficit. I'm not saying he did, but maybe he felt he did. And he wanted to ensure that he plugged that before he tried again a head coach situation. Now, that's complete speculation. That is rooted in nothing. But I agree with you completely. All I'm going to say is destiny. We were destined to have him. He was supposed to come back to New England. This is how we're going to write it all. And this is the destiny and dynasty. I'll have to write that down.
Destiny and dynasty. Okay,
destiny,
I like that.
And dynasty. No, only one destiny.
The thing is, you can argue that, is it luck? Is it destiny? But picking up Drake May, and maybe this is a good way to get onto him now and merging into the Bads, possibly. But you only get Drake May because you sucked and lost only won 4 games. So you were picking high in the draft.
See, there you go.
Could also argue, is there a bit of fortune in there that he was the 3rd quarterback off the board? 2 teams could have taken him, chose not to. We're potentially pleased with that. But like you say, destiny, dynasty. There we are. That's your new catchphrase.
Dynasty. But if Kraft hadn't have stuck with Mayo, like you said, they wouldn't have had the losing season. So, no.
I wrote to the post game show yesterday.
Removed, so that's wrong. So
I wrote to the post game show yesterday saying what I just shared about my thoughts on Vrabel, and I also said that I wrote in at the time to say this: getting rid of Belichick after he literally was the dynasty, and then getting rid of Mayo after just 1 season, after clearly what promises you made him many years ago, potentially, the infamous trip to Israel and all the rest of it, must have been probably the 2 hardest business decisions that Robert Kraft has had to make, so almost certainly with the Patriots, but possibly in all of his business dealings. But hiring Vrabel must have been the easiest. The way it's turned around is pretty damn incredible, I think. So on to Drake May then. What did you think of his performance yesterday?
Well, you've obviously got some. Is he on your bad list?
He I didn't think he had a great game. He hit some good passes. I didn't think this was one of his better games. That reflects in his stats. It reflects in some of his decisions, like I already talked about, his decision to throw the ball when I think he probably should have just thrown out the end zone. It's funny as well, and I'm sure you saw it, when Henderson broke free for his 2nd rushing touchdown, and he was so fast he blitzed away from the safeties and had the time to turn to the sideline to ask whether he should go down or go into the end zone, and That's just brilliant. Like they said on commentary, or maybe it was the post game show. I can't wait for the cut up of where they'll be able to put the reactions from the sideline and him pointing at, okay, we'll do that then, and okay, and having the composure and the speed to be able to do that is brilliant.
Yeah.
But there's also, and you probably saw it, Drake May was shouting, "Get down, get down, get down, get down." That was his choice.
Yeah, because I was very disappointed that they didn't show Vrabel.
Yeah, the touchline, I'm guessing, must have told him the opposite because he went into the end zone. So yeah, it's learning. It wasn't. Drake May wasn't awful. I mean, I guess you have to say if Baker Mayfield had pulled off that the go-ahead score from the interception, and that had kind of been what had cost the game, you could have argued that Drake May cost the Patriots the game there with that decision.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, so we ain't having that conversation. I'm not trying to play it that way, but I didn't think this is one of May's best games. But when that is his flaw, if his flaw is going into Tampa Bay and winning games and still throwing some seeds when needed, I'm pretty happy with that flaw. When we've seen the flaws of other quarterbacks the past few years, if this is Drake May's flaw, I'm happy with that flaw. What were your thoughts?
Okay. No, I agree. Yeah, it wasn't his best. You can't say, you can say obviously the point that you made that that would have potentially could have cost him the game. So he's not necessarily on my bad list, but there's elements. But again, I don't know. It feels like it's one of those things. He's raw and he's young and he's developing, he's growing, he's evolving, becoming sort of a dynasty takes a while. You can't get a dynasty in a year, so it's all good. Like you said, if this is the floor, if winning at the Bucs or on the road against the Bucs is the floor, then it's good. It's still good.
Any other downs, any other bads on your list?
On my bad list, I did have injuries because obviously that's not great. Nobody's fault. It's just a bad thing. Injuries. I got tight end coverage. Whilst not super bad, it's still a niggle. I think they need to send me over to Foxborough and I'll get helping on some tight endage coverage, I reckon.
Would you know how to cover them? Would you? You'd show them how to cover a tight end.
Totally.
Blanket.
Not a problem. But seriously, it's not great. Their tight end coverage is not. Yeah, and Otton he's a good tight end.
He was the number one receiver. And there were. I thought Ibuka looked pretty hot as well, but he couldn't bring everything in. They're obviously missing some names there.
It's just a continued weakness. That's more why it's on the list. It isn't so much that it was so bad this week. It continues to be there, and it's like you need to make sure that it's something that we're working on. They're working on kind of thing. But that was on my list. And special teams was sloppy. Penalties
fully agree.
Such. I mean, Borogani not so much, but you have to put it on as a collective. It was just. It wasn't a great game. It's like if they'd have had a better game and Drake May didn't maybe and had a bit of a better game, how even more successful can they be? So
No,
and
I
also
fully agree.
Short week hits my bad list as well because it's unfortunate. It's not good. A short week is bad.
The only thing I'll say on that is if you were picking when to have a short week, when you've just won 7 games and you've then got the Jets at home, you couldn't really ask for a better short week than what the Pats have got. And everyone's going to have one at some point. It then gives you the mini bye when you haven't had one. So it's about as good a situation as you could be in concerning.
I do not disagree at all. So what was on your bads? Because we do want to talk about.
No, you've covered the other thing I was going to mention was special teams. I agree. They didn't The penalties were so frustrating.
Mm.
I didn't think they were able to get the ball out too far, and then I didn't think the coverage was phenomenal either. No special teams either there as well, but they made the kicks, so it didn't. That again, it wasn't a cost. I don't think if they'd lost, I don't think it would have been a reason they lost. It was just an operation that can be improved, and I guess that's the good thing. That was an area where that was never going to be the reason you lost a game, but there's little creases there that you can iron out, and you can just get even better. You've gone
that was my
into
point.
Tampa and beat them, and we can still get better, and that's always nice to see.
That was my
because
point.
it's things that you think realistically we can get better. A lot of what we saw the past 2 years, talent-wise, potentially scheming and coach-wise, you thought we're bad. We just ain't going to get better. you didn't have the hope of things like this that we're going to iron out or improve. Or certainly I didn't anyway. Just a negative. But these are little things you think, oh no, I reckon the coaching can get on this and they can be straightened out.
So moving on, because it is a short week, so we need to hurry up.
Before we get to the Jets, then the tease I came with before. One thing I did think looking through this was, what do we want? What do we want? What do we need to get better? And I did think if we just had that number one, because I thought Ibuka looked really good, for example, and watching a few other games around the league, and you see these standout players, and you think, God, I wish the Patriots just had a completely dominant pass catcher. And I say pass catcher because obviously that could be a number one receiver, but like we've kind of discussed, I think the room is working. I'm not saying we're happy, like it can't be improved. It could be improved, but it seems to be working quite well with the collection of people they have. I know you love Derrick Henry. Not Derrick. Well, you probably don't love Derrick Henry. I know you love Hunter Henry, but potentially
I don't dislike Derrick Henry, just for the record. but no, he's not on my.
And I know you're someone who likes to draft tight ends, so I did have a look at tight ends that were coming out. Purely on paper, I haven't gone to look at highlights and whatnot. I do watch a bit of the college game, but I don't know these players in and out yet.
So in my defense, I don't. So
that's right. His name is Clare, Max Clare, which immediately is going to get your attention.
That's amazing.
We got a long way to go in college football. Some sites think he might be a sort of second round pick, which is generally where you might be more realistic. You're not necessarily saying we've got to do this in the first round. And he's from Ohio State. So already there could be that variable relationship, trust, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Claire, maybe I might already know who your draft crush is going to be.
Oh, wow. See,
so you'll prove me wrong now, because you won't want me to be right. So there's no way it'll be anyone bar him now, because you won't want me to be right. But I did see it and think that's ticking a lot of boxes for Claire.
You say that I don't want you to be right, which is often true. However, when it comes to tight endage, I don't mess around. So if he is my draft crush, I will wholeheartedly admit to it. But that's quite far in the future. And what's not far in the future is the game against the Jets, because it's only on Thursday. So we really need to hurry. We don't have picks, but we really need to hurry. So Jets 2-7, coming off a win. We're coming off 2 wins, technically. They're on their winning streak as they beat the Browns 27-20. So what you got?
31-13. A nice reverse of numbers there.
Patriots.
Yeah, to the Patriots. 13. I don't think the Jets are that good.
It's very interesting.
Patriots will be fired up for this.
That's fair. Home game as well. Good fun. See,
they're not playing as well at home. They've been playing better away, but yeah.
I got 30-10.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's a funny
one. We're quite close. We're quite close.
I think it'd be difficult not to be on this game, really, from what we realistically have been seeing and what we're expecting to see. I don't think we would have been very far away from each other when it comes to these predictions. But obviously, easily things can change. But yeah.
The thing with the Jets is they're playing with a bit of freedom now because they've lost some players. So you've got players now who've stepped up to prove themselves because they want NFL careers, they want NFL contracts. They're trying to prove things. Now, the talent shouldn't be as good.
We'll see.
So we'll see exactly how that plays out. But they've had a bit of an attitude reset, I think, in the last week and the tradeaways they've had. So
are you doing it? You need to really we need to hurry. Super hurry. But do you have an underrated player that you wanted? Or is there anything else that you wanted to mention? Because we really need to hurry.
I mean, again, because I would say Henderson is probably, player of the day, in my opinion. I'll give underrated to Hollins because the blocking game again as well. He put a very decent hit in at one point. And he just looks strong, tough. He just seems awesome. His attitude again.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that? Who was yours?
I was really torn. I have 2 on mine because I've got Gibbons with his 5 tackles and his 5 assists, and I've got Tonga just because of his dual threat. Just so much fun to watch him play.
Excellent. Do you reckon they'll use that at some point in the season? He's going to catch a pass for a touchdown.
Oh, I'd love that.
They'll put him in.
I'd love
They're going to keep using him as that sort of fullback role.
Yeah.
And then eventually he's going to break out into the flat when everyone thinks a run's coming.
Oh,
use his pace.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. That is going to be fun. So, folks, I'm going to have to wrap it up because, play on Thursday. Got to hurry. So that is it for Pat's Procrastination, episode 76, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please not forget to be going over to patspropaganda.com, folks, for works for this show, for your apparel, as is. So from him, Chudders, from me, Claire Clazzy Clare. Tune in next time, and as always, go Pats.
LFG.